Hello, viewers. I welcome Mrs. Rabia Khan on my show In Conversation with Taha today. Although we are going to discuss Jia Khan, who the Indian government has claimed was murdered, but there is another story behind it. So, although it is painful, but I will ask Mrs. Rabia Khan to just narrate her experience of what actually happened.
Uh, Taha, I'm going back into that 7.5 years back when about my daughter Jia Khan, who was a who was successful in her field. She came with Mr. Bachchan, the legend, and she performed. She proved that even Mr. Bachchan had to say she doesn't look as if she is, just a new kid on the block. She spoke very articulately. She was intelligent. She was talented. She has all that element that takes to be a star, and that's how Indian Bollywood welcomed her. Now the journey started from Nishabd, and then she bagged Mr. Amir Khan's film Gajni, and then she did Akshay Kumar's Houseful.
Yeah.
And during that time, she came to know, she discovered what Bollywood is all about. And she was very, courageously dealing with all the nepotism, all the dark side, all the dark people. She was dealing with it from time to time when, like, she had a window of space. She would come running home and to be with us and to, she loved
So,
London.
what kind of stories did she narrate to you? Did she share any experiences of this nepotism or the dark side of Bollywood with you?
Yes, she did from time to time. And nepotism, I always sidelined. I said, you didn't, you were my child, and you came there with your merit. You showed your talent, and you blossomed in there. So some actor who has got a child, they will always want, their children also to come into the same field. It is, up to them because they're putting their money. So nepotism was something which is very common. And yes, it is very sad in a way where some of the people are so talented. Like, I remember she was telling me, Mummy, I have been removed from a Yash Raj film. She was auditioning for Aurangzeb
I see.
opposite Sushant Singh.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, she auditioned and she passed. But then all of a sudden, Salma Agha's daughter was taken, and
Hmm.
Boni Kapoor's son was taken. So
Okay.
that's when we discussed about nepotism. That was her first experience of nepotism.
I see.
So
I
I said,
see.
it's okay, it's all right.
Yeah.
So many films. India makes more than 365 films in a year. I
Correct.
mean, maybe 3 films a day.
Yeah.
So, you will have plenty of chances. We were not worried about that, Taha.
I see. I see.
But when she discussed about bullying
Yes.
and about sexual harassment,
Hmm.
that's when we put our foot down.
I see.
So,
I see.
yeah.
So
And
did she experience sexual harassment? Did she
yes,
experience anything
yes,
like that?
yes, she did experience it. But she discussed with us, and she was bold enough, to kick it off.
Okay.
And in fact, those very people were, arrested under Me Too, and they came, and look where their career is. So
Yeah.
it was karma catching up and all. But she dealt with that too. Now, what?
Who from the industry supported you when all of this happened? When everything was going on for you, all hell was breaking loose for you. Who was there to help you at that time from the industry?
Uh, it was not hell breaking for us. Gia came from London, and she was intelligent girl to deal with it. She was articulated. It didn't bother her. She said, you know what? I don't care. I'm doing events. I'm making money, and if somebody seriously wants to take me, they will come to me. There it doesn't have to be any submission or desperation for a role or
Yeah.
for a film.
Okay.
So she wasn't willing to become a sugar candy for anyone for
Right.
anything.
I see.
That is why she landed up with a wrong guy.
Right.
I would say that that was the reason
Hmm.
in another way. So because it was her choice also, uh, to pick up Suraj Pancholi
Right.
as her boyfriend.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But did you
So
did you as a mother approve of that?
when it so happened that Gia actually, when she was facing sexual harassment,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
she took a break from Bollywood
Okay.
and she came to London. That was in 2010.
Okay.
And yeah, and she said, she saw the filth, and she said, I need a break, and
Mm-hmm.
she came here. I said, yeah, you don't have to come back.
Okay.
And though there were a couple of films, but they were in the pipeline, and
Mm-hmm.
how things get delayed.
Yes.
So I said,
Yes.
since things are getting delayed, why don't you do, a course, um, uh, probably brand management or something related to your work.
Right.
And she agreed to that, and she was applying, and she
Mm-hmm.
was checking on which university that she can go to, and she was chilling here. She was staying with us in London for a year
Mm-hmm.
until she met
Okay.
Akshay Kumar,
Mm-hmm.
who invited her on a concert to Canada. And that's where they had one-to-one chat.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that you're very talented, and you don't have to worry about. She must have told him about why she has moved and taken a break.
Okay.
Yeah, and film industry is not that if you walk out you cannot walk in.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
you don't, and you don't have
Your
to.
talent can never hide. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to live in Bombay. you
Yes.
you can live anywhere. There are Hollywood actors who are living all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
and when work calls you, you fly down.
Correct.
So so when she went to Canada, she had a word with Akshay, and she must
Mm-hmm.
have spoken. So
Mm-hmm.
Akshay then gave her that kind of support or a guarantee that you come back, and we'll do things together. And he narrated how he supported Katrina Kaif, he
Yes.
supported other actors.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave that kind of moral support,
Okay.
and she decided to go back in 2011.
I see.
Uh, no, 2000, early 2012, sorry.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
January 2012 when she decided to go back.
Okay.
So that's when she goes to Bombay, and I accompanied her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided, she was thinking, okay, now that I'm going to be here, and Akshay is there to be by my side. So she found a mentor in him
Okay.
who could mentor her.
Right.
And in that process, I have got two other daughters
Mm-hmm.
in London who were
Okay.
studying, who were going to, one was, both were in college at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, both were in college, not in university, just, maybe the last year of college. So
Right.
I came back, being with Gia from January, February, about end of April, I came back to
Okay.
London.
Mm-hmm.
And then she joined me in June. She stayed
Okay.
there for a month and she
Mm-hmm.
came back.
Mm-hmm.
So June, July, she was here with us.
Okay.
And then around end of July, she goes back to Bombay.
Okay.
And during that time, while in London, she was also doing, play up. She was doing events, and
Mm-hmm.
she joined endorsement for sports,
Okay.
international sports endorsement, where she did with Zair Khan, some Formula One and things like that.
Okay.
So she was making money. She was very independent. And
Mm-hmm.
in fact, she was more of a mentor for my other two daughters, the younger ones,
Yes.
younger
Mm.
sisters. And they were very close, tight bond between sisters.
Okay.
And was with me too. I always had respect for Gia. I called her
Mm-hmm.
Bebo,
Right.
because she had a very clear mind.
Okay.
I did oppose her joining films
Okay.
because I said you can always do films, later age.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I want you to complete your university. I wanted her to go into the medical sciences. So she said, Mummy, this is what I have decided, and this is what my path is.
Okay.
So I said, if that is your choice, then you've got to go to the top university in the world
Right.
and study what business you're getting into.
Yeah.
And I remember she was 17 and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and she left for New York,
Okay.
and she joined Lee Strasberg,
Okay.
and she was living alone in New York,
Mm-hmm.
a young girl. So that is how she became so independent, and she could live alone. She
Mm-hmm.
could face the world.
Right.
And she was very focused. She knew what she wanted, and that is why she was studying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was very, very clear in her mind.
So basically, she was a go-getter, and she wanted to get
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
She would get behind it and have it.
yes, yes.
So, in your opinion, this what the Indian government or the Central Bureau of Investigation called a suicide. Was it really a murder or a suicide? What do you think? What happened there?
Yeah, let me tell you, she in 2012 around September, she was being stalked by Suraj Pancholi on Facebook,
Okay.
and who was continuously stalking, and she used to talk to us, and she took it as a sense of humor. It
Hmm.
was like a flattery. Some little boy
Hmm.
down the lane is
Right.
flattering her,
Yeah.
and praising her,
Hmm.
and giving, like bombarding her with so many compliments and all.
Right.
I mean, for a young girl, Gia was also 23 years old,
Yeah.
around 22, 23. So for a
Mm.
young girl, to be flattered like this, and knowing that he is a wannabe actor, and a son of a Bollywood actor.
Hmm.
So, she took it as a flattery. She took it as a compliment.
Okay.
And then she invited him over
Hmm.
to meet who this guy around the block is, and
Okay.
discovered it was Suraj Pancholi.
Right. Right.
So when she told us about it, we all laughed,
Hmm.
and she never took it serious, and she also laughed. And then she told me that he's constantly sending her food, flowers, greetings, wooing her
Yeah.
for, and it carried on for almost 2, 3 months.
Right. Right.
And so that is how she got trapped.
Hmm. Hmm.
And she's a young girl. I
Hmm.
mean, when women of our age, if somebody does that, we also think, it's very complimenting,
Yeah.
uh, and it's not written on their forehead that this particular person is criminal, or that is,
Right.
it
Right.
is, over the period of time,
Yes.
then you observe, and
Yes.
then you find out,
So she
his.
got flattered into this relationship.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
she got.
Okay.
So she introduced me. The day she introduced me on Skype, it was somewhere around end of October, early November.
Hmm.
And that is when I saw that he was hiding in the dark and not showing me his face.
Very strange. Okay.
And yeah, that took me, you know,
By surprise, I would say.
yeah, by surprise. And I was thinking, I told, when he left, he said, "Oh, no, 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 he's shy.
Okay.
He's just woken up."
Hmm.
So it was in her house.
Hmm.
So, and now another shock. So I
Yeah.
asked her, I said, "Is he staying with you?"
Right.
Yeah, yeah, mommy, sometime he comes, and,
Okay.
he stays away.
Right.
So, then I, interviewed, although Gia was an adult,
Hmm.
but I just happened to ask her, so are you in a relationship? So
Correct.
she laughed.
Hmm. Hmm.
She, she, she was shy, and she laughed.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh, mommy, I'm still discovering, I'm still finding out."
Hmm.
So that means she had not taken it very serious.
Seriously.
And
Okay.
he was, yeah, and they were
Hmm.
spending time together, a
Okay.
lot of time. So I asked her, how is it? Because Gia had a schedule.
Hmm.
She loved her piano. She loved her Hindi teacher coming. She loved her, walk on the beach, and she loved a few hobbies that she had, and she would spend time, and
Right.
she would talk to us 4, 5 times on Skype.
Okay. Okay.
So, these were, and she used to do classical dancing. So that
Hmm.
was a 2 hours of classical dancing in the morning, and then her whole schedule was there. So
Okay.
that was also disrupted, and then 1 hour of gym. So
Hmm.
she started doing gym with Surat Pancholi.
Okay.
So giving that whole
Background.
background, in November, after Suraj's birthday, she
Hmm.
comes to London.
Okay.
And that time she's telling me that how she celebrated his birthday and gave him a present,
Hmm.
gave him a black diamond cross.
Right.
That was a very expensive present. We laughed.
Yeah.
This is since when?
Hmm.
It's always the other way. Oh, mommy, and she was talking nicely about him.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that means at that time Suraj was not in so much communication with me,
Okay.
but was constantly in touch with Gia. I mean, the phone was constantly,
Hmm.
you could get alarm. There is a text message or there is a call,
Right.
while Gia was with us in
Okay.
London. And then when she was going back, she took a lot of presents also for him,
Okay.
like his favorite macarons and things
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that there was, they were close friends. It
Right.
was developed into probably a relationship.
Okay. Okay.
So at that time in November, nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was going smooth.
Mm-hmm.
When suddenly in December, Taha,
Mm-hmm.
I receive a text message from Suraj Pancholi, a big
Mm-hmm.
letter
Okay.
saying, sorry, I'm very, very sorry that I lost it, admitting that he got drunk,
Mm-hmm.
admitting that he lost control,
Right.
admitting that he was, he had beaten Gia, they had a fight, admitting and asking me, that please, like Gia is
So when
ready
you
to
say
leave.
beaten her, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just going to bring
abused.
it into
Yeah,
context of the UK.
yeah,
If it was the
yeah,
UK, probably
yeah,
he would have been behind bars straight away.
yeah, for domestic violence.
Right. So
Yeah,
in
for
India, nobody. This is why I was asking you, who was it that supported you in the industry? Who was it in India who supported you? Or why was this beating or this abuse taken so not seriously?
it has not been taken seriously. Look at his own mentor, Salman Khan. What has he done? He outrightly launched him straight away after she was being killed. He launched him as a hero. I mean, this is the definition of heroism. You
Right.
beat the woman, you
Hmm.
demean the woman,
Hmm.
you take drugs and alcohol, you go out of control under the influence of all these alcohol, drug,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
You do anything
Substances.
and
Yeah.
you're excused.
Hmm. So going back to this letter, what happened after that? What was your reaction to it?
So I got very
Worried.
angry,
Hmm.
and I immediately spoke to Gia. I said, "What's happening? What happened?" Says, "Oh, mommy." Then she texts me. No, I text her. I said, "I received this letter. I made a photocopy of that letter and I sent it back to Gia." Said,
Hmm.
"What's happening? Please call me back, mommy. I'll call you back. I am right now little occupied." So I
Okay.
said, "No," because at that time when I received this letter, it was day.
Yeah.
So she must have been occupied with some audition or maybe meetings. So she said she will contact me. I said, "No, this is serious. I want you to call me ASAP."
Hmm.
So she called me. She sent me a message
Yeah.
straight away,
Hmm.
a photo shot of of her uh, message, um, that he was crying entire night at
Hmm.
my feet, fallen at my feet, begging me not to leave her, and his
Hmm.
face was all swollen.
Okay. Okay.
So
Hmm.
now you can imagine the drama. She
Yeah.
must have definitely told him, "Listen, this is
Yeah.
it. I'm not going to take it, and
Hmm.
it's over."
Right.
Right?
Right.
And his insecurity, that he was at her feet begging, crying, that please don't leave me, I will be devastated, I love your mother, she's my second mummy, I love her more than my mother. All
Hmm.
that I've got, Taha, proof, I've got
Right.
all the proofs with me, and I handed over these proofs to CBI, to the police, but nothing happened,
So.
because they were overruled by the Bollywood mafia. They were overruled by Salman Khan. They were overruled by his father, who is a political clout. They were overruled by them.
But why did not the British government help you in any way when you are British citizens, all of you?
Well, I had written to the British embassy. I had written to foreign minister. I have got all those letters that I had written, and they were constantly saying that they are in communication, because my daughter was an American citizen. I'm a British, and my other daughters are British. They're saying we are in communication with the Americans. Now the problem is, this is not our jurisdiction. Now the question is of jurisdiction, and I was a little bit, though diplomatic, but I said, what if it was somebody, very important's daughter? Is it just because she's my daughter and I'm a common person begging you for justice?
Hmm.
Is it because of that? And there was
And
no reply. And it's always like, oh, speak to this one, speak to that. Do you know Prime Minister of India? Do you know? Write to them, tell them. This is what the communication is, Taha.
so
It's
these
very
were the answers
frustrating.
which were given to you.
Yeah, and
And
it
did
is
the
very
American
frustrating.
government intervene at any point?
Yes, the American consulate candidates were coming all the time to the courtrooms. They did intervene with CBI, and CBI said, please leave us alone. We
I
do
see.
not interfere into your
Matters.
jurisdiction and your investigation. Don't. And FBI offered their assistance to CBI.
Right. And
To the
what
police.
about this person, the expert you hired, the British forensic expert,
Yes,
Jason Pine James, who
Taha,
concluded that in his report on 20th September 2016 that Khan's hanging was staged and the marks
staged.
on her face and neck indicate it was not simply a suicide. What happened to
Yes.
that report?
Yes, that report has been now submitted through. I had to go through, Taha, such a journey from High Court. I was rejected when I wanted to submit Jason Payne expert's opinion. Then was sent to Supreme Court. Then Supreme Court said submit it to the session court, the trial court. And if they reject, then you come back to us. So we had to fight tooth and nail at the session court also, because to my I would say, being, to my despair or unfortunate, that even CBI at that time, who I had begged High Court to transfer my case to CBI because police has concocted a suicide story, and which is not a suicide. They have concocted so many stories to fit their suicide stories. So the case went to CBI, and when CBI got the case, they were investigating, and in their investigation, Taha, they dismissed police's concocted stories of suicide. They
Okay.
dismissed. But
Okay.
as they were going on the right path, they were pressurized by the Maharashtra politicians, by NCP government, by the accuser's father's political clout, by the Bollywood mafia, to stop investigation and not to progress, because they are launching the boy and not to interrogate the boy and not to ask him any questions, because a lot of money is being invested.
I see.
So CBI stopped the investigation,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
And till today did not give a plausible explanation for the injuries,
Hmm.
did not raise any question against the Jason's expert's opinion,
Right.
right? And put an inconclusive report of their forensic doctors,
Hmm.
and put a charge sheet that suited the police and the Maharashtra government.
And then the accused went scot-free.
And the accused is still scot-free, and the trial is still on a hook.
Okay.
It is, the dates keep changing, the delay keeps on happening, and the police look at the session court. The session court, when all the submission has been done, the charge sheet of CBI has been submitted,
Hmm.
right? The session court judge looked into the police's concocted story,
Okay.
and not into the charge sheet of CBI. Did
Okay.
not look into Jason's report, did not read any, and put the charges as abetment to suicide,
Nice.
on the basis of breakup bouquet, which was completely dismissed by CBI's own findings.
So with this Sushant Singh Rajput case in India, which is
Yeah.
being thrown in the media every day, into the faces of the Indian public, into the faces of the politicians, police, CBI, everything. The case is being transferred from Mumbai police to CBI. Do you think this is a political stunt being played? And this, if God forbid, uh, nothing like this was happened with your daughter, where they started throwing the case around in this way, which is being done with Sushant Singh Rajput. Do you think it's more of a political vendetta against each other?
Now it has become a very murky and messy. But what has happened, there is so many similarities in Jia's and Sushant's case, where both partners, it looks like Riya Chakravarti was planted into his life. That Riya Chakravarti from behind was being conducted what to do. Because whatever happened to Jia, right? Jia's partner, first bombarded with a lot of compliments and love, flatteries and everything, and then when she was in his control, then started isolating, then started sponging money out of her, then started, beating her, created a fear into her. And then later, you know what the consequences happened, because the money was stolen, there was money issue, the money was given for the jewelry, the money Gia suspected probably has got a change of mind, so there was an argument, and in that argument, then everything happened in that
Spur of
in
the
that
moment.
span of, in that moment. And all those timelines and everything has been sabotaged by police, and then later covered up by CBI, under being under pressure, which of course now I am asking for to go further into the investigation. I've written open letter to DCBI, director of CBI. I had a meeting with them. I will come to that. But coming to your point of Sushant Singh, so these similarities were so identical. I mean, so identical in Sushant. He was also sponged for the money, right? All his accounts were completely wiped out. Then he was also being controlled, then he was being abused, then he was being threatened, then he was also living in that fear, and then he was killed. And the scenario, the same circumstances, and the same, I feel, is the killers.
I
They
see.
are the same. Yeah, it is a
If you
serial
think it's the
killing.
same gang of people, is the
Yes,
same
yes, yes, yes,
kind of people
yes,
who have gone after
yes,
Sushant Singh Rajput,
yes.
who went after Jia Khan.
Yes, and
Wonderful.
now they because they come from such powerful backgrounds, their fathers or their relatives, they are the politicians and the Bollywood icons and the mafia. So they think, under their umbrella, they can do anything, because only they have got the power to crack their
Right.
criminal behavior.
Right.
So they
So,
go under that.
looking at the time, I have two more questions. One was, obviously you were going to talk about the
Yes.
CBI. So, did CBI really help you or hinder you, or what happened with them? What was the CBI's contribution in this case?
No, what I won't say. So whether they are helping. Of course, they are. There is a hindrance,
Mhm.
but that has to be removed, and that is why I'm raising a voice, and I'm still fighting, and I'm still attending courts. And if I, by some reason, because of COVID, I cannot attend, but my lawyer team is always there attending the court, and the trial is on. But the thing is, the key questions are not being raised, and uh, key evidences are not brought forward to the judge. So
Okay.
for that reason, now the thing is that when I had a meeting with the joint director,
Hmm.
and he invited the Mumbai CBI officer,
Yeah.
and he questioned them, he said,
Hmm.
why is the charge sheet so prematurely filed?
Hmm.
Because the charge sheet is not complete. Your forensic report is very inconclusive. Now the CBI joint director is questioning the CBI officer, the superintendent of CBI in Mumbai,
Right.
right?
Okay. Hmm.
Who he invited. He said, I have asked Miss Khan to come for this meeting, and I want you to fly down from Bombay and come
Okay.
for this meeting because it's important. I had to hire Taha Scarman's solicitors in London,
Hmm.
who appointed panel of 5 solicitors,
Okay.
in fact QCs,
Hmm.
to have a review uh, on the Juhu and CBI charge sheet.
Okay.
So the panel, the report was compiled together of 250 pages,
Okay.
which I gave to CBI joint director, to the head of the CBI, and
Hmm.
said, everything, all the questions are here,
Hmm.
and your complete findings of the case is in this report.
Okay.
Please go through it, and I want answers for that.
Okay. Okay.
So then he questioned the CBI Mumbai. He
Hmm.
said, where is the ligature? Why the ligature was not sent to the forensic
Right.
for analysis? Why
Hmm.
it was not the ligature not sent to the forensic expert or ligature expert to
Right.
find out whether these injuries on Jia are consistent with this soft muscle in dupatta,
I see. I see.
right?
Okay.
And why the BlackBerry of both Jia and Suraj Pancholi not sent to FBI when FBI has already offered their
You mean
assistance?
CBI?
Yeah,
You mean
CBI.
CBI? Okay.
No, CBI to
Yeah.
send it to FBI,
FBI.
because my
Okay.
daughter, yeah, my daughter was
Okay.
American,
Okay.
and FBI has offered their assistance, because CBI said they cannot crack into the BlackBerry. They
Right.
cannot get all the data and the GPS. So send it to FBI.
Right. Right.
Because nothing is deleted, Taha. Everything is there in that device. And FBI has got the special laboratory to crack these
BlackBerries.
these datas. Nothing is deleted.
Okay.
So now CBI has asked the court to hand over the BlackBerry and to hand over the ligature because it needs to be sent to the forensic department.
Okay.
Now, for that, the oppositions, the defense is now opposing it.
Okay.
Earlier, CBI with the defense, right, opposed my application of all these evidences to the court. So when I raised voice with the head of the CBI, and the head of the CBI questioned the Mumbai CBI officer, so now they are moving the court to give those evidences so that it can be sent after 7.5 years.
In the event of time, I have to ask you my last question, which is, who do you hold responsible for Jia's death?
Suraj Pancholi.
Thank you for coming on my show, and I hope and wish you all the best, and I hope that you get the justice that you're seeking for your daughter. Thank you very much for being on my show.